Hey guys, good morning. How are you? Welcome to my channel. This is Daniel, and welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. They help keep me going. Every little bit helps. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, you can go over to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist 333. You can sign up for a subscription. There's different readings and things over there. And you also get the daily forecast a day early. So you get to kind of pre-plan if you want, if you like my forecasts. If you don't want to subscribe, that's completely fine. Other ways you can support the channel. Follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist 333. Like my business page over on Facebook. All of that stuff is up in the corner on YouTube on the main channel page. All of my social stuff is up there. And if you're watching via YouTube, or I'm sorry, via Facebook, please go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, like cross-subscribe. That would be great and a huge appreciation. Also, just sharing out the videos, commenting on them, asking questions, giving me suggestions of what you'd like to see. All of those things are great too. And that's kind of it, I think. Oh, if you ever see a deck that you like that I use, check in the video descriptions because I do have affiliate links with Amazon. So if you purchase a deck through Amazon from my link, then I actually get a small cut of the sale, which helps too. And then also, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm going to start to mention it in videos, but in each video, generally I try and include a song that pairs with each card that gets pulled, sort of as an inspirational song or something that I feel drawn to. Generally, I look at the card and I think about it for a moment, and a song just randomly pops into my head. Then I go and I seek it out and I check the lyrics and see if it fits, and most oftentimes it does. So there's that sort of fun thing in there too that I don't know how many of you know has been going on. So in the video description, there's also songs. There's also my Linktree link, which booking a private reading is a huge way to support me and the channel too. Those are done over the phone or Facebook video via Messenger, so and payable via PayPal, so it's pretty easy. Okay, so let's get into the forecast. Now, we've got some interesting energy. I feel as though we've turned, like something is turning in the energy of what's going on with the collective. This message is a timeless message, and it is for tomorrow, Wednesday the 8th, or well, you guys will be watching it. It will now be today, Wednesday the 8th, but I'm filming it a day early. It is for the collective and the highest good of the collective. Do you need to pant during this? Really? Like the heavy breathing? This isn't a porno channel, but that's my dog. That's my bulldog, you guys. He's right underneath the desk panting. I don't know why. It's not like he runs anywhere. None of us are running anywhere. Anyways, so this is for Wednesday the 8th. It is a timeless message if it appears in your channel or on your screen at a time when it's not the 8th. Don't turn it off. There might be a message in here for you. Now, I want to discuss a little bit about sort of what's been going on as I shuffle cards. We have a really beautiful weekly reading at the beginning of Sunday, and there was some questionable midweek energy of that suffering and silence card, which in a traditional tarot would be like the Nine of Swords. Nightmares, worries, bad dreams, you know, just kind of working against ourselves in the mind. And that's okay. The suffering and silence card in this deck actually has a more positive spin on it, and I read it aloud that day. So go back and look at that reading, but underpinning this, that energy is sort of underpinning us right now during these readings of the midweek, okay? So just keeping that in mind. Yesterday we did see that disruption card, which is the equivalent of the Tower. Never a card that, you know, people want to see, but I actually kind of embrace the Tower only because the Tower to me is about sort of the universe moving us even if we're not willing to, you know? And so sometimes that lets us know that, okay, it's time, whether we're ready or not. And so we just have to kind of take action, believe in ourselves, and move, because if we don't, we're just going to struggle our little butts off. But, you know, having a little butt and little struggles is a great form of exercise, right? All right, so let's see what the card is for today. New beginnings. Yes, hooker. Yes. I'm just kidding. So this is the Fool card, essentially. This is all about, look at her walking on the earth. She is owning that earth, bitch. Look at this. It just makes me feel good. I don't know. I've been in a really goofy mood. I do not feel like Pandemic Patty at all. I am not letting this shit get me down. I believe that there is a purpose to all of this. I believe that my angels are going to see me through this. I've been meditating every day. I've been trying to stay centered every day. And I really do believe that some of this stuff is actually going to have such an impactful and beneficial shift in the long run that we're going to look back on this and go, God, do you remember how scared we were? Or do you remember how worried we were? And I mean, this might be a year or two away. I'm not saying that it's going to be immediate, but I do feel like we are on this journey, this new beginnings journey. Now, again, I'm going to go back and reference that Sunday card of that Nine of Swords. To me, we might be walking away from some of that Nine of Swords energy or that suffering and silence energy. I didn't feel like when I read the definition of that card in this deck that it felt like a heady, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like upsetting card, but the Nine of Swords traditionally does deal with mental stress. And so if you guys are feeling extra lonely today or feeling like the push of that, that's okay, right? Underneath this. But the focus here should be on the power or the strength of this new beginnings card. To me, this is the beginning of the major arcana. This is the beginning of a journey that's taking place, right? And we had that wishes fulfilled card as the end of the week energy. So I feel like this is us sort of making a turn. When I look at just the symbology of this card, the Fool card is always, in traditional tarot, it's always about sort of keeping an open mind and being enthusiastic about a new journey, even if it seems a little bit scary. It's walking that fine line between being, I don't want to say foolish, but being open-minded enough to be daring enough to do it, even if you don't feel like you know all the answers, right? I love that she's standing on this world. To me, it feels like we are now becoming a more of a global perspective, a global community, and I think that that's a good thing when we're thinking about the brotherhood of man, when we're thinking about the realm of the spirit, when we're thinking about the healing of the planet. These are all new perspectives where it goes out beyond. It's like microcosmos is our immediate environment. I'm gonna shut the door because the cats are being wackadoo. Microcosmos would be our immediate environment and how that affects us. Macrocosmos to me would be thinking about the world, the planet, spirit, you know, even the solar system, right? And the effects of the planets and all of that happening to us or on us, right? And how that works, right? How we interact with that energy, right? And it is all just energy. So when I look at this, this might be a new beginning of us opening up to that bigger perspective, to our place in that bigger perspective. I love how we have this planet here, and she is realizing that her impact on this planet or within this grand scheme of things is actually rather much more important than she probably previously thought, right? Because we're looking at how large she is in perspective to the planet, right? And I think that there's something to be said in that imagery, right? When I'm looking at this, I feel to me as though, and it's interesting because there's this door here behind her, which that could have been the energy of that disruption card from yesterday. It's like passing through that door, being aware that maybe things aren't perfect, but we've got to make do with what we have and start this sort of step forward, right? The movement forward. And so when I look at this, to me, we're beginning to realize that our thoughts, our energies, where we place our attention, our intention, they have an effect, you know? And we need to keep this sort of open mind of like the Fool, you know, where we're enthusiastic, we're open to change, we're open to new ideas, we're open to new beginnings, new paths, we're honoring ourselves in new ways and realizing that our impact on the planet, our, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that, each of us has a sort of responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to the planet itself and to each other. And so I think we're realizing the magnitude of that by looking at this woman's size in this card. And I love that she's sort of, to me, when I look at her, she feels as though she's walking more gently upon the planet. And that gentleness is not only reflected upon the planet, but also upon herself, guys. So keeping that in mind, you know, after that disruption card we saw yesterday, plus with that suffering and silence energy underneath, be kind to yourselves. Be open to new ideas, new ways of being, new ways of sort of traveling through the world, right? And right now we're on a sort of a slower pace. Enjoy this pace allow for it to sort of shift your perspective and open your mind and show you a new beginning or new path, because it is there for you. And I feel like this new path, because this is the first card of the major arcana, it packs that punch, guys. It has that meaning. It has that importance to it. Allow that importance to take its seat at your table, so to speak. And allow, when that happens, your table may very much change. But let me tell you this, and just to go with this table analogy, I don't know why I have this in my mind's eye, but your perception of what is at your table is either going to decrease or increase depending upon how you see your table. If you see nothing there and you're ungrateful for what little you have because it's too little and you're struggling, you're probably going, this big new perspective is going to come in and quite well could give you more of that. But if you look at things with an open mind and a new perspective and a fresh perspective of this idea of being willing to change and move with that change, your table becomes full, abundant. Yes, albeit different, right? And I know that none of us are working and none of us have any money right now or whatever, but that's the part where I feel like if we choose to focus on that, we're going to get more of that stress, more of that worry. If we choose to focus on, in this given moment, I am okay. In this given moment, I am okay. And when it sneaks in, that fear, that worry, that despair, you need to go back to that place and start that journey again with this idea of being in the present moment and realizing that in this moment, everything is okay. You're safe. You may not feel like you have all the answers, but as the present moment, as we move into the present moment, as she walks across the planet on this new journey, we're going to figure these things out in real time. And we can do that. We can pivot. We can make decisions. We can be strong in, how do I want to say this? We can be like decisive and discern and be smart in making our decisions in the moment, right? Versus like just traveling through the world blindly, which is what I think a lot of us were doing. We were on autopilot for many decades. And we can't be on autopilot right now. Okay. Interesting. So this is the energy oracle, Wild and Free Wind Sprite. Okay, he's a little bit elusive. I feel like his energy to me, as I'm looking at this, is he's like, where are we going? Where are we taking ourselves? And this to me comes back to this sort of idea of where our mind takes us, where our ideas take us, back to that table analogy, right? Is our table full or is our table empty? Is our table crumbling or is our table strong and sturdy? The Wild and Free Wind Sprite, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like he's here to sort of also give you more of that table. Like, he's here to kind of take you on the journey, right? How are we relating to nature? How are we relating to our environment right now? He's going to amplify that. He's going to carry you. He is going to support you. I know this sounds cuckoo, but I'm going to say this. Go outside and hug a tree, or go outside and acknowledge nature. Reconnect yourself to the natural sort of world, that of like plants, animals. If you have pets, love on them extra right now. If you have, weather stuff that's happening, find appreciation for that weather. I feel like this Wild and Free wind sprite is telling us we need to sort of connect not only to ourselves and to our brotherhood of man and to the planet, but also to like the natural elements. There's been so much where we've sort of been on autopilot and not paying attention. And they're here to help us too, I feel like. As elusive as that, or as strange as that may sound, to me it feels like he's here kind of wanting to help you. Where do we want this wind to blow us to? What are we focusing on? Are we in fear and doubt? Because he does have a fairly sort of, he almost has, I don't want to say sinister, but he has this sort of feeling of like, to me, he will take us where we choose to go mentally. He's powerful. He's like sort of the natural element of our environment, and I feel like we need to acknowledge those natural elements. Like when I meditate or when I do readings and stuff, I call in the elementals, I call in the earth spirits, I call in the animal spirits, the plant spirits, the mineral spirits, those elementals, right? They all have sort of, auras and energies, and they help compose the totality of this experience in this planet. If we're not acknowledging those, and that she is acknowledging those by walking on the totality of this planet, she's kind of bringing herself into sync with all of those aspects and becoming aware of them and the larger impact that she has. So the wild and free wind sprite is like, okay, let's get wild and free. Let's party, babe. Let me take you on a strange trip, right? And I'm grabbing the grounding stone right now. And so to me, I feel like he's ready to go. There's a little mischievousness in his eyes, but we have to be positive, open, and ready, enthusiastic, and willing. Let's see what the, okay. Here is the grounding stone. The grounding stone is an idea or thought that we want to ground in for today. And this is respect. Now, I feel like this respect is in the Fool card. I also feel like this respect is our relationship to the elementals. I think we can call upon them. If those of you that, like, I know this sounds kooky, but I do call upon them. I do honor them. Like, I go outside and I try and thank the trees for their, like, protection from the storms. I thank the weather for the watering of the yard. I thank, these are things that this morning I'm burning incense called Namaste, because even though we had that disruption card, I'm willing to go through the disruption to get to the better feeling experience, right? I'm willing to allow the foundations to be shook because it's time. And I respect that, right? And that's what I feel like this respect card is. It's like sort of respecting yourself, the planet, the elementals, the natural kingdom, the material kingdom, the spiritual kingdom, the mental kingdom, all of it. Like finding respect and gratitude for all of it and starting that journey in this Fool card. There's a certain respect that she has in treading lightly on the earth right now, in shifting and being responsible for her contribution. Each of us have a contribution, and it's much larger than we imagine, and we need to also respect that, and then allow this sort of wind sprite to come in and carry that for us, or carry it where it needs to go. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, guys. That is your forecast. That was rather long, I'm sorry. Please tune in tomorrow for the next forecast, and I will see you guys. Give me a like, a share, a comment, a subscribe. I greatly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, and we are going to get through this together. I love each and every one of you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.